Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're having a really short and sweet episode where we're going to tell you something really valuable that you can take and run with and take action on. We have a client who has a really neat story that Becca's going to tell you about in a minute. And she had some debt accumulated, and she was at a place where she had gotten her numbers in order and she was ready to really go hard on debt payoff. And it was because of her relationship with her credit card, because of her good standing with them, that she was able to reduce her interest rate so that it made paying off her debt quicker, obviously, less interest going out the door, and more money going on the actual principal of the balance that she had. So I'm going to let Becca tell this story. This was a client of Becca's, and I want you to share with us what exactly happened for her and why was that relationship with her bank or with her credit card company so pivotal in her ability to get that interest rate reduced.
Yep. So we had been getting her numbers together for a while, right? Probably like a year. And she felt comfortable enough with her profit margin that she wanted to start going really hard towards debt payoff because there was potential that she wanted to quit her full-time job. She ended up not wanting to do that, but that was what was possible for her because she was getting her numbers like really, really cleaned up and in a place where she wanted them for her family. So we were chatting one day and she was like, I want to go really hard on debt payoff. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about the debt. Let's talk about the interest rates that you have, which one is stressing you the most, all of the questions that we ask, right? When we are planning a debt payoff plan for somebody. And she said, well, this one is not the most, like, it's not the biggest balance, but it is the one that stresses me the most. And I can't tell you why. It just is. And I said, okay, well, what's the interest rate? And it was like something like 24% or, the credit card rates. And I said, did you know that you could call them and request that they lower your interest rate? And worst case scenario, they tell you, no, we're not doing that, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? They tell you no. And so she was like, I'm going to do it. So she called that afternoon and she said, hey, I'm about to pay off all of this. Like, they want their money. They want their money back. Yes, they want your interest, but they also want their original money back, right?
And they don't want you going to get a loan to pay off the credit card at a lower interest rate, because lines of credit are generally like more like 10, 11%, 7% would be really good, right?
Right. So she called them and she told them what was going on. And they said, yeah, we'd be happy to lower your interest rate. They lowered it by 6%.
Yeah.
6%. We did the math later, and I think it came out to like $900 less in interest that she was going to pay. That's $1,000. That's a plane ticket to go on vacation. That's a lot of groceries. That's a lot of gas.
A weekend in a hotel.
That is Christmas for your family. Like, come on. $900 is nothing to scoff at. And so she was really excited. She was like, I didn't know that I could do that. But you know what they told me? They told me, because of my history with this bank and with this card specifically, that they would be happy to lower my interest rate because I've never missed a payment. I've never had a late payment. I pay my bills on time, and I typically pay over the minimum payment, like not by much, but just enough that it made them pay attention. So when you are asking banks, credit cards, loans, like businesses for help, they are going to look at your history, and your history is going to be a huge factor in whether they say yes or no to you.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, you can call the credit card companies and ask them to lower your interest rate. You can ask them to change the date on your card, like the date that the statement balance date, your due date for payments. Now, those things they will typically do for you no matter what your history is. But the main point here is your confidence in calling them and asking them for a big ask like this is much higher. Like, you would actually work up the nerve and the confidence to call them and ask them these questions when you know you have a good history with this company.
Right. I really like that. We had a client that just call to change the date of her statement, because I don't know about you guys. I don't know if they start on the day you open the card or if they just happen to go the 15th to the 15th. But my cards are all these weird numbers, and I don't do my banking from the 15th to the 15th, right? Like we often like our brains to work in like nice round numbers. And so the 1st to the 30th just feels better for me. And so I didn't know that that was something that you could do until you taught me that you could call and have them shift the statement dates to go by the month, so that when you're going through your statements with like your checking account goes by the month, generally your credit card can match up instead of having these two really random statement dates that just feel icky when you're trying to organize your money.
Right. Yeah. Like 2 weeks of the month are on last month and 2 weeks of the
Right.
month are on this month. And
That's
it can, when you're, especially when you're just trying to get a handle on your money for the first time, it
Yeah.
feels so much harder to match up and to track. Well, half of this month's like statement due is on last month and half of it's on this month. Like, how do I track that? Call and get them to change it.
And
Change the
that's what we talk about with our clients about cleaning up your finances. That's messy. When you have to look at two statements to get 1 month's worth of information, it's messy. And you're like, did I look back? So I'm looking for July. Am I clicking on June or August? Like it's such a weird combination. And we want your money to feel easy. We want organizing your money to feel easy. Money management should be simple. And it's not simple when it's just something simple, that's a weird way to word it, but when there's just that like weirdness about where the statements lie, it should be very black and white. Your July statement should have July's information on it, logically, in my mind. So I think that's a really simple but highly impactful way to start getting your money cleaned up.
It's also a way for you to take control. You call and you ask the question, they say yes or no, and then you know what your next steps are. We had a
Right.
client a couple months ago who called her bank, who she's had a history with for a very long time, and said, I have these 3 credit cards that I would really like to consolidate. Would you allow me to open up a personal loan to consolidate these credit cards with you guys? And she said the woman was so nice, and she went through all of her options and she looked at her history and she was like, listen, based on your credit score right now and based on your history, I can't give you that personal loan. But if you do X, Y, and Z and come back in 60 days, we can offer you that personal loan. So,
Wow.
like, the fact that she was willing to even speak with her and give her some recommendations on what to do so that she could qualify for that was huge. And it boosted her confidence because she was like, she like literally walked me through what my options were. She didn't have to. She could have said denied, like, good luck, pay your credit cards, which she does do, by the way. But it's just the fact that you can walk in and ask questions, and whatever the answer is does not matter. That you can ask the question, you can hear the answer, and now you know what your next step is. That's what we want you to feel.
Yeah, and I want to give our audience a little empowerment here, because I know that you're sitting there probably thinking, okay, but my money is really bad, or it's really messy, or I have a lot of credit card debt, or what if they ask me questions I don't know the answer? Like there's a lot of swirling questions when you don't have your numbers in order, okay? But I want to empower you for a second, because I want you to think about, what does it mean when you're asking a bank to give you a loan in order for you to consolidate something else, if that's even the question, or if it's to lower your interest rate, whatever it is. They're not doing you a favor. I want you to really, really think, like, let that sink in. Banks, credit card companies are not doing you a favor when they are loaning you money. You are purchasing that from them. You're buying it. You are a customer giving them your money, because interest is your payment to have that loan. It's your way of owning, or like giving you the entitlement to have the loan. They are making money. They are a business that is making money on you. So walk in there with your head high, or call with your head high, knowing that if you're not interested in my business, I will go elsewhere. And you can feel empowered to know that they want your money. They want you to consolidate with them. They are a business. They are a business. They are a business. They are making money off of you. So don't think that they're doing you a favor. That's what I want you to really empower yourself to remember when you're making those calls that you feel nervous to make. It's like, no, this is my business, and I'm happy to do business with you if you're willing to work with me.
Right.
Okay,
We have
Mama Mara's off her soapbox.
We have one more example, and if you are not at this place right now, do not fret. We want you to take this in as what is possible for you in the future when you are a few years into business, when you're making the kind of money that you want to be making, when you're making the profit that you want to be making. Um, and when you have your money so organized and so cleaned up that you can walk into a bank and ask for a business loan. I want Marley to tell this story, but this is something that our client told us, I believe, last week. Um, she needed a business loan, and here's how it played out for her.
Yeah. So she was looking at getting this loan to invest in something in her business. And it was a big loan. It was a multi-5-figure investment. And so she called her bank up and just said, "Hey, I'm looking at making this purchase. I don't want to pay cash for it. I would like to take out a loan and pay it off very quickly over the next 6 months. Is this something that we can look at?" And the answer was yes and no, because she's fairly new in business. Generally, with any career, a bank is going to want to see 2 years of tax returns. And this business owner was just 1 month shy of that. So she was really close, but they do have their rules and they kind of have to follow them. And so basically they were like, but let's see if we can push it ahead. Here's all the paperwork you're going to need to fill out. And like, this is a really busy woman. She's got a family. She's got a business. She is like highly an action taker, growing fast, like focused on building, making multi 5-figure or 6 figures a year. And so she's like sitting down and filling out like pages and pages and pages of paperwork. She's like, I don't know if this is worth it right now. I'm so busy. I'm about to go out of town. And so she just kind of like put it aside for a minute. And by the time she got back from this trip, she was like, they called me and they were like, we went ahead and approved it. And she didn't even fill out all the paperwork. They said it was based on her history. They see she makes good money. But usually that doesn't matter. They need the 2 years of tax returns. But they were like, we see you make good money. We see that you pay your bills on time. We have done business with you for a long time now. She's been working with that bank for a while. And so they were like, we went ahead and we were able to push it through for you. Because again, they weren't doing her a favor. She was paying them money to get a loan. Like, and a big loan means more interest. Even if the interest rate is lesser than a credit card, they're still making more money the more you're borrowing. So they didn't do her a favor, but it was because of her good standing and relationship with that bank that they were able to kind of, bend the rules a little bit for her and push it through.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's incredible, right? Like, of course they want your business. Of course they want your money. Of course they want to work with you in order to get what you are asking them for, right? But the point that we want you to hear is getting what you want from the bank or from the credit card company or from the loan company requires that you have a really good history with them. So if you're a person who's like, well, crap, like I have terrible history with the banks and the credit cards and the loans, like I have late payments, I have a terrible credit score, don't like forget it. That's in the past. You can start today. Raising your credit score, PS, is not a big deal. It is not hard. The biggest, like the largest step that you could take today to start paying your to raise your credit score is start paying things every time on time. That is it. And I want you to watch your credit score start inching up. And the more you pay down your loans, the more you pay down your credit cards, the more your credit score is going to go up. Like, do these simple things. You don't need someone to fix your credit. You don't need to pay somebody to do this. This is just part of getting control of your money, is paying your things on time. You would never pay your mortgage late for fear that they would take your house, right? So your credit cards, your loans, start paying them on time every time and keep an eye on that credit score. Like, if you're a person who's worried about, well, I'll never be able to walk into a bank and ask for those things, that is not true. That's a story you're telling yourself. And that is based on where you are today, but that's not based on what you have available to you. So we have something available for you. We have a challenge that is going to take place in December, but it is available for you to register now. Marley's probably sitting on her hands right now because she's so excited about this. She's probably biting her tongue. I'm going to let Marley talk to you about this because I've never seen so many Telegram messages in my phone from a person fired up about a challenge before.
Yeah, listen, I am so excited to run this challenge because I can see as I'm filling out our agenda, as I'm organizing it, I'm just seeing so much possibility for business owners to really make a difference with their money. And so we are running this challenge in early December. It is going to be free to register until the end of November, and then the price will go up. So if you want to get in this room, this is the first time we're running this challenge. That is why we are offering this crazy deal to get you the opportunity to really master your money. It's going to be a 5-day challenge. We will have a lot more information coming out very soon. But this is going to be your step one. If you're ready to finally take control of your money, if you're ready to put shame aside, regardless of where you're at, if you make really good money, but you know it could be cleaner, you know you're not making the most out of it, and you really are just looking at your bank account balance to make decisions with your money, we want to empower you on how you can make better decisions with your money in your business, in your life, by knowing your numbers. And we're going to give you so much value over these 5 days. I am literally buzzing over here as I'm writing our agenda for each of the days. So register by sending us a DM on Instagram this week. You can just shoot us a message with your email address and maybe shoot us the word waitlist, and we'll get you on our wait list as soon as we have that registration link ready, which I'm working like a busy little bee behind the scenes with our team to get it up and running as soon as possible. We will be sending that out to the wait list to start. You'll be the first to be able to register and grab your seat for free. And then we'll be announcing it to our audience over on Instagram, and I'm sure here on the podcast as well.
If you have always, like, if you've been sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to get in Mind Her Business and it's not been the right time, or the investment has been more than you can handle right now, this is what you want to be doing. You want to be in this room, you want to be taking advantage of this, and you want to register by November 30th so you can get it for free.
We'll see you there.